Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another short-term rental intel podcast by Hosty. Today, we've got Emily Farmer, our onboarding specialist, who you guys met last week on our podcast. 2 weeks ago on our podcast. And joining us today is Jillian Kimber. Jillian is a wonderful, wonderful person. She has done amazing things for Hosty over the last couple of years. Everything from guest communications to owner account management, to Hosty experiences, which we'll dive into, training new employees, and just creating some amazing things for Hosty and the vision and where we're headed. So welcome, Jillian Kimber.
Thank you, guys. Happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us a quick introduction to how you came across Hosty.
All right. Well, a little bit of a backstory there. So I was new to Colorado, and I needed a full-time job. I met Evan, one of our owners, and he was looking for guest communication staff. So I joined Hosty having absolutely no idea what they really did. And, my first thoughts were, okay, you clean the homes in between guests and answer their questions. How hard can it be? And turns out it's an incredibly complicated business. So I was with Hosty for about 6 to 7 months. I left for some personal reasons and came back, and I started our Hosty Experiences section of the business. So we did offer private hiking tours. We offer private chef, in-home wine tasting, in-home massages, in-home facials, and we're kind of adding on experiences as we go. On top of that, I have been our owner account manager and working with our guest communication staff as well. So wear a couple hats within the company at this point in time.
Tell us a little bit more about Hosty Experiences. What was the idea? Me and Emily were talking about it, and we kind of called the director of happiness for the guest experiences. What is Hosty Experiences? What are you doing with it? Where'd you come up with the idea?
Oh, well, I noticed that, most of our guests ask us where to go, what to do. And I kind of played that back into my first experiences hiking in Colorado. I was very timid. I didn't know where to look up trails. I was scared of, going to new trailheads and trying new things. And I could see that in our guests. They didn't really know where to go, where the cool spots were. And I was looking personally for a new adventure. So I was like, okay, well, we have this whole marketplace of guests. Why not, give them some of the same experiences that hotels can offer by adding on our experiences. So I did, I think maybe about 10 guided hikes, and then
you led personally.
I led personally, correct. We bought a 16 passenger van. I was picking them up. We did the whole thing.
The Hosty van.
I'm really proud of you for that, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Because of the locations that you had to drive and the conditions of the roads.
So 16-person white Sprinter van.
Yeah.
For Hosty guided hikes and tours.
Yeah, I actually had to do a U-turn in front of 4 cop cars because there was a biking race down one of the mountains, and I had to play it really cool, but I was not cool in my head the whole time. So, and then we kind of led into our slower season, and I got looped into, several other facets of Hosty. So we decided it wasn't really the best time to put our effort into building out the hiking tours, but we were doing really, really well with our in-home experiences. And that's kind of how we found our niche of, where we've moved forward with. And by far our most popular is the private in-home chef. And Bon, our executive chef, is absolutely amazing. So we're lucky to have him as well.
Yeah, he's a little bit of everything, isn't he?
He is.
And he's able to pull together anything at the last minute. And you have created all these different types of menus, though, right? Or these, how are we having our guests order Chef Bon?
Sure. So just
Chef
Bon, yes. So just like everything else, it was a little bit of trial and error. Our first menu, I think, had, there was a couple choices, but each guest would choose one appetizer or salad, their main course, and their dessert out of 2 or 3 choices. What I didn't know, because I've never been a chef before, was that, our pricing was all off. So when Bon came in, he explained to me, okay, how you're doing it is fine.
How were you doing it?
So we would charge per person.
Okay.
We have a service fee on top of that, just because Bon does the shopping and preparation work individually for each experience. However, our pricing was just off because he explained to me that, just say a recipe calls for half of a tomato and only one person orders that meal. Well, we then have to charge for that full tomato. Whereas in a restaurant, there's several people ordering the same thing, so they don't have that problem. So we recently switched into just having family style meals. So they still get a couple choices and a couple, like 2 entrees and a couple sides, but it's all served family style to, work in the pricing.
And that's another example of you, like a hotel, has, their kitchen staff there. They can do room service to every room there. They don't have to look at it from the half a slice of tomato. When you try to do this room service concierge program across, about 45 minutes in every direction, you start, these little problems pop up that you'd have no idea.
Oh, yeah. In my head, I was like, oh, cool. Just hire a chef and he'll go cook meals. But, just to
drive out.
Yeah.
It makes you more appreciative of everything else that we might be thinking about in the future too. But I really love how we're able to try any of these types of experiences and we grow from there, because you said in-house massage or masseuse, right? In-house yoga experience. Isn't that an option too soon? And
yep.
So
we have in-home yoga, but we also have, a guided hike. It's more of a glorified walk, but it's a really beautiful walk with about half hour of yoga built into that as well. So we're working on building these out, and another big problem is scheduling and payment. So we've gone through some trials and errors there. But Emily, as you know, we have our tablets that we put in every home. So our guests can book experiences directly through the tablet, but we're also simultaneously building out our website. So kind of allowing them to book from a couple different angles.
How has the tablet rollout been for the homes and the integration of hosted experiences onto the tablets?
So since our pricing structure for our experiences is a little bit complicated, their software wasn't quite up to par with what we needed for that. The tablets help a little bit more on the property guide sense. So, there's individual property guides for each home. If your thermostat is hard to use, if your TV remote is complicated, we can add videos or text information on those tablets. But as in simple things like booking late checkouts and mid-stay cleans are readily available on the tablet, but we have a little bit of work to do to get the experiences bookable on there.
And I just wanted to comment too, I feel like it was about almost a year ago that the idea of the tablets were born.
Yep.
So, and here we are, we're still troubleshooting, and it still feels like a very new concept that these tablets are being delivered to homes and then we're deciding what information goes on top of them. But Jill, you've been part of that, where if there's any other new ideas at Hosty, how can we get from point A to point B, right? But with all these other steps in the middle, what other, I think we talked about a little bit of what you first did when you got to Hosty, guest comms, and then now you are an owner account manager. And me and Killian were talking about how you've opened up and paved the way for our new squad leader structure. So can you talk a little bit more about, what you've been currently doing and what you're transitioning into?
Yeah, absolutely. So in as little as about 8 or 9 months ago, I think it was January, our guest communication staff, which still included me and another team member of ours, Rachel, we answered all guest, owner, and still a lot of contractor phone calls. So we were taking almost every single call that came into the company, and usually there was only about one of us, sometimes 2 of us working each day. So we quickly learned that, we couldn't really handle that anymore. Hosty was growing. So we hired a couple new guest communication staff and broke it out so that I was our owner account manager and was trying to help manage and teach our new guest communication staff. However, now we got to the point again where we had another change where it was getting a bit overwhelming for me to be the sole point of contact for all of our owners. I think we have 170 houses or something at the moment. So I don't know the exact number of owners, but it's up there at the moment. So I think my level of service, I wouldn't say it was going down. However, I just didn't have the capacity to, go to these homes and, fix these problems on the spot for our owners. So we've made another, restructure within Hosty, and we're adding squad leaders. So these are professional property managers who are going to take care of a subset of about, 25 to 40 homes and be the point of contact for those owners, go to the homes on a weekly basis, hopefully solve issues on the spot, and be more proactive, and instead of my role turned into a, bit reactionary to the issues our owners were bringing up.
I loved how you would take some of the owners out for lunch, maybe twice or 3 times a week. I would hear that you're going out and meeting with these owners face to face instead of just having email communication or phone communication. Do you feel like that's been a really strong part of what an owner account manager would be?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we really value our owners, and we're happy to have each and every home that's on our Hosty portfolio. And I think, in a lot of those conversations, especially with some of our owners who have been with us for several years, there was a lot of re-education of what we're doing as a company and how we're trying to improve. And, I always mention to them, this is a really new industry. It has not been around for a very long time at all. And, we're
certainly not in the way we know it now. I mean, we talked about the Breezeway safety rep who came in, and he was doing it 10 years ago where they mailed in a check and they found the home in the back of a catalog, basically.
Yeah.
It sounds like more than 10 years ago.
Yes. Yeah. That, I think, all gave us a little bit of anxiety. So.
Yeah. Well, you've got the two problems. It's, you've seen a lot of property management companies do this with maybe outdated methods, and you've got the balance of technology, trying the new things with technology, bringing the tablets in there, bringing them through a beta stage, getting the Hosty experiences in there, and then allocating the best resources, human resources, to take care of the things you can't take care of with technology. And we were talking about like a spice or an ingredient for Hosty is ingenuity. I feel like we've had Craig on, you on, Emily on. Everyone's worn a couple different hats, and we've been able to figure out the boundary of each place. Hey, we're at 130 homes. Maybe we need to start looking at how we can break these homes up over different people. Right. And we've just learned that from people growing through the different positions. Like, there's things that you knew from both of you guys, from guest communications that you brought into property care to owner communications to squad structure, that you would never be able just to step into and know without trying to figure out, hey, this isn't working, this is working. And I think as we see, I'm really excited for the tablets and this idea of being able to bring a brand to all the homes and have kind of a citywide chef experience or room service experience is going to be something that no one in this industry is doing. So we just brought on a home with his third home, Justin, and every time he's brought us a new home on, it's almost been a new Hosty because we're trying to innovate so quickly. And it's each time it's been me onboarding his home, then it's been me and a previous coworker, and now it's you.
Well, I also like that you brought that up just now because of the number of homes that we have that Jill is taking care of with the homeowners. It's not always just one homeowner per home. You've got some homeowners that are interested in buying more homes with
Several
Hosty
homes.
To work with that. Yeah. And yes, you were saying you were bringing it in. I'm sorry, I kind of went off track. I got excited because Justin bought his third house with us.
Well, I lost my train of thought, but I was thinking about finding the edges of technology, and we recently took a big step. One thing we've learned is as your portfolio grows, it's not always one owner for one home, but it's a handful of owners. So you've got the guest, you've got the property, and you've got the owners. And so we've recently pivoted heavily into what technology can we build out, proprietary software that we can help our owners engage with Hosty in a way that's easy for them and also allows us to continue taking care of the guest experience and maintaining the property care.
Yeah. Right. So the tablet's bringing in with that connection, right?
Well, no. And then, do you want to kind of an owner portal portal we'd be building out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you made a couple really great points there. I think one of, I can definitely say Emily and I's strengths is at this point in time, if somebody brings a problem or a question to us, very quickly our brains can identify, okay, how is this going to affect the guest? How is this going to affect our multiple layers of our team? How is this going to affect the owner? And we can get to a conclusion very quickly. I mean, even as simply as when an owner emails and says, hey, I need to go into my house on September 27th. Is that okay? It seems like a very simple question, but, we need to say, is there a guest there? Are our cleaners going to be there? Do we have contractors there? And if yes, we need to notify these people so we don't, run into any issues with the team. And I think that's one of many things our owner portal will help us with. I think, I get a lot of different questions from our homeowners. However, most of them can hopefully be solved by this portal. I mean, sure. I think we want to do, several things. Just say they have a maintenance item they want to get taken care of. It can come in as a request to the team. And then, if you've ever had delivery from Domino's, when they say your pizza's cooking, it's coming to you.
We're putting your toppings on your pizza.
Yeah, it'll get you, kind of real-time updates of where it's at in the process. Their permits will be on there. Their pricing, they still will have their calendar where they can see reservations and make their own reservations. But hopefully their revenue is more connected to our accounting system, so it's more updated in real time. I think I got probably 10 questions this month about why their owner portal with their revenue wasn't matching their statement.
Sure.
And it's, fairly simple. It's not connected to our accounting system.
So what you're talking about in brief summary is you have many, many different homes and you're collecting revenue from tons and tons of different homes. All that accounting has to be divvied up. All the little, the fixes, the snow removal, the guest refund, whatever it may be.
From each platform.
Exactly.
All the taxes, the different cities that we are advertising or our homes are in. What else though even when we're purchasing different items for each home and that have gone missing, or claims that we've had to do to replace things. So not even just deductions, what do we owe the owners with
Absolutely.
Those type of things.
And you have to do that basically 150 times or over however many homes you have. And that's a huge chunk of accounting. And like a lot of areas of this industry, everyone's somewhat trying to figure it out. And accounting is something we are extremely skilled at. What we've been able to do in that area is pretty revolutionary. And so we want to be able to streamline that so our owners can see the revenue in real time, their maintenance tickets, maybe potentially what that would cost, and just be able to interact with their home in a little bit more push button manner, that Domino's style menu app style, so they don't feel as disconnected from maybe the everyday ongoings of their home. Because as an owner, I think sometimes they sit back and we're able to take care of everything so much they're not always sure what's going on. And if we can at least give them updates in real time, that communication will be huge.
Absolutely. I mean, we had feedback from an owner. I mean, this is maybe 6 months ago, but they felt like we were just doing remote management and weren't engaged with their home. And we did go through and we sent them all of the maintenance and cleaning tasks that have been going on at their home for, I think, the past, month or two. And they were like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. Yeah. And but that's what, I think that people do also have a right to see and know what's going on in their home. And instead of having to ask us, it's like, no, here's all this information. We want to be as transparent as possible. Just at this moment in time, we don't have the functionality to do that, but we are actively working on that.
Right.
So.
You bring up that point where it's on their statement, all they see is what they've paid for.
Yeah.
They don't see anything that we don't charge for. I mean, we don't charge for light bulbs and batteries and things like that, but there's tons of things that we go and do for troubleshooting for guests, how to work a remote, how to maybe, if the oven, if there was a problem with an oven, I think at another property, and it was push the power and then hold this button down and then unplug it and plug it back in, and now it works.
and so the integration of the tablets, the squad structure, the owner portal, whether it be an app or a desktop or however we structure it, between all those different pieces, hopefully we can provide as an amazing of a as an owner experience as we can a guest experience. You a guest pooped in your hot tub. We're working for a solution.
Yeah, right.
The poop has been removed from your hot tub. Ticket complete.
The hot tub is clean. Yeah.
Hot tub.
Guest has apologized. Guest has been charged.
Next guest has arrived. Says the hot tub is clean. Thank you.
They don't see any of that. That's a really great point. All this hard work that we have done. I think we have, after every stay, taken care of a certain hot tub. And I feel like the owner, when they arrived out of the 3 or 4 months that they had been gone, there was something wrong with the hot tub, and it made it look like that we were not taking care of it. But in reality, we could pull 10, 15 different tasks for after every reservation of when we've balanced the chemicals, when we've scrubbed the hot tub and things like that. And yeah, so I mean, but that's okay. They don't get to see those type of things. They'll be able to see it here in the portal now, though. Right?
Absolutely. And the interesting part of all this is some of our owners don't care. They want to collect a paycheck at the end of every month, and as long as major things aren't going wrong, it doesn't matter. We have some owners who are extremely hands-on, and there's no way they won't know what's going on at their property, and a lot of people who are in between who might want to just check in on their portal every so often and see what's going on. So I think it at least allows all that information to be out there, so that if a major issue does happen, this during this whole time they've been able to see all this ongoing care of their property, and this, they come into something's broken, and they can identify, okay, this is probably just a one-off thing. They just, didn't happen to catch this. They catch almost everything else. So
talking to owners who've been with us, a month, the first day, 3 years, what would be some advice you would give people about to go down this journey of having a vacation rental?
Well, I mean, I think there's some, patience involved, especially when you're first starting up. I mean, the absolutely number one question I get is, when am I going to start to get bookings? And I always tell owners, if I can tell you one thing Hosty does extremely well, it's our pricing and ability to fill up our calendars. We're very good at that, but there's something that's a little bit out of our control, and that's the algorithms of these booking platforms. It takes a little bit of time to get a couple reservations, a couple reviews on there, and you start to move up higher in these algorithms. And it's hard for people to have that patience. And
there's seasonality. It depends on what time of the year they come on board.
Yep, absolutely. And reviews are a real kicker too, because I think we've seen it's been a little bit rough this year review-wise. I mean, prices have gone up for travel. People are expecting an extremely high level of service. I think sometimes, they're booking at such a high rate, they're expecting homes to be maybe a little bit different than, what they've walked into, and they're overly critical. But the good thing about that is I think, some of these experiences pushed our company to make sure, we move into this squad structure. We identified a gap that we weren't really fulfilling by not having enough inspections or the same set of eyes on each property. And
this summer alone, I mean, this summer was a record-setting summer for the industry, and I believe almost every single one of our homes. And so it was kind of a stress test, if you will, as we grew. And so I'm pretty sure, I double checked, but I'm pretty sure our star rating is trending up. But we had such a amazing season this year that any little maybe like weakness in the chain was exposed, and now as we go into a slower season, we can start focusing on those. How many new guest communications ladies have you trained in?
So
the last 6 months.
In the last 6 months, I think I've trained 6 people. It's been about one a month, but we've just brought on 2 new ladies, and we transferred one over into a squad leader position. So okay. I think our goal right now is to keep a little bit of continuity in that department. I fundamentally think it's the best place to start in the company. Everything comes to a head there. You see how all of our systems work together, and you're really on the front lines of all the issues. So
when you move into other departments, you really are changing things or adjusting things to make it easier for guest comms or guest communicate, just for guests calling in, basically. So I agree with that. With you training all of the girls and everybody coming in, what happens next for you after you have been able? What if somebody else is going to be able to move into a training position? What is it that you want next for Hosty?
Oh man, That's a good question. I mean, I really just want us, I think having the ability to sleep peacefully at night, knowing that our team is all operating cohesively is, but really, I mean, I know all of us, we've taken care of a lot of after hours issues. And I think part of that's just been, we really want Hosty to succeed. But I think this squad structure, one of the best parts about it is, even if guest comes, they get a call like, hey, is this property, handicap friendly, and maybe our pictures don't have, they can't tell from there, they can go to their squad leader and they can get an answer for that. Or if a guest calls with a cleaning complaint and they see that the property's been cleaned and inspected by their squad leader, they can, with 100% confidence say, no, this, know that property was cleaned well, and then figure out how to go from there. Whereas right now, it's shifting a little bit, but I think it was hard for them. And it was hard for us too when we were there.
It is stressful. Like Killian talked about having a record-breaking summer. Yeah, last summer I want to say we thought that 15 cleans a day, maybe 20 cleans was a lot. We were up to 35, 40. I think we got up to 50 for Labor Day weekend. Yeah. For us to manage all those cleaning crews and all the maintenance guys out there for a checkout, check-in. And now we have squad leaders that can have their eyes on the properties, inspect, give feedback to the cleaners, help them grow stronger, make sure that the house is ready to go for that next guest. I mean, yes, it is going to be very much less stressful.
Yeah.
So,
and, I think us and our owners put a lot of stock in our cleaners. And in general, they do a very good job. But you also have to consider some of these cleaning crews are cleaning multiple houses in this small 6-hour window. And they have their own stress on their plate. So having this kind of second layer of defense to make sure these homes are, in perfect ready condition, I think is
quality assurance.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's very much needed. So
well, when we were talking, what we're doing, we're performing at such a high level. We're trying to take it from good to excellent, from excellent to amazing, and so we're doing all these little changes. And when you look at the industry as a whole, and as we go to the VRMA conference in San Antonio. And we get a little bit feel for more of the industry. I think almost every month we see more and more what we're trying to improve is what other people are still trying to figure out in general. And so we can focus on these things like the ability to do hosted experience and get a chef involved and get a sommelier involved and do hikes and yoga. And so that gets me excited too, and being able to step away from some of the smaller things that we're able to step away from and other organizations are still trying to figure out. But for hosting experiences, where do you think the next step is that as we kind of wrap things up?
I think right now it's really just kind of perfecting what we're already good at. I think that we want to keep it relatively limited to the amount of activities that we offer, but make sure we do them really, really well. And then hopefully can add on more contractors in that light. But for right now, I think in the next year, if we can get a good booking system, good booking, good payment, and good contractors and get a lot on the schedule, then that's a big win for us at the moment.
We sold the van though, right? So we realized
we did. I actually drove that guy around for a month when I had a flat tire, and so
this podcast is dedicated to the hosting.
There was enough room for your dogs and you in the van. That was a positive right there.
I mean, for our listeners, I have 3 90-pound dogs, and
they're all going to be at your wedding.
They will. They will.
Yeah, very exciting. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening. Jill, thanks for joining us.
Thank
Emily,
you guys.
thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Short-Term Mental Intel Podcast by Hosty.